Just 2 points. One, I think if we were to rewind back to the time when all the riots were going on, every call would be, this is totally reasonable, totally fair. And it's just very much human nature, passage of time. We've all become a bit sort of chilled about it. And now this woman has got sort of a very strong following saying, this is outrageously harsh. The second point I wanted to make is the idea about the fact that she's a mother. Whenever that's raised as some sort of an argument, I'm always baffled, because I'm a mum and I don't look on her and think, oh, goodness me, she should be back with her children. Instead, I think, God, poor kids. That, that they had a mother who was doing that and behaving like that, and now it's almost like leveraging her children to get out of punishment. I find it quite shocking, actually.
I sometimes, I see what you mean. I sometimes think, aren't your children the reason why you wouldn't do this in the first place, because you're going to be massively punished for it? Isn't the fact that you're a mum one of the reasons that would stop you from writing such genuinely vile and horrible things on social media? Because you're a mum, and one day your child might read it and go, oh my God.
Yes, so Tom, that leads me to believe that this wasn't something that she, like that brain fart. It's something, I'm giving her the benefit of the doubt, presuming that she has full capacity. So presuming she's got full capacity, she weighs up the fact that she's a mother and yet still post something as abhorrent as that. And I believe it's because she genuinely thinks it and is genuinely, given half the chance, a dangerous person. I'm not saying she's going to go out and do anything, but she's harbouring horrible, dangerous views. And I think punishment fits the crime. And I think leveraging the children argument, to me, all that indicates is, my word, like what poor children.
The thing is, if you have, again, maybe I'm splitting hairs again, Sarah, but if you have a view that says mass deportation now, set fire to all the hotels, you can have that view without it being punished, because it can just it exists in your head.
Yes,
the issue
absolutely.
for her is she said it out loud.
Yeah. I don't really. Yeah. Well,
because we don't do punish. I guess the point I'm making badly is we don't punish people for just having views. I don't want to live in a country that punishes people for having views.
No way, me neither. But she was obviously so impassioned by that view that wanted to actually broadcast it.
Yeah, and even though it was possibly to fewer people than other accounts have on Twitter, it doesn't matter. Sarah, thank you. Joseph's in Croydon. Joseph.
Hi. How are you?
Yeah, good, sir.
Yeah, basically, I want to say, prison should be a deterrent more than a punishment to deter people. And this woman, if you exchange her for an immigrant, if an immigrant did the same as her and said, go and burn white people houses, how do people feel? Are they going to react the same? You know what I mean? And what she did is not something small. Lots of people could have died because of her words. You know what I mean? So basically, it's not little. She deserves even more from me.
I agree. I guess it's the difference between did it actually incite people to do it or didn't it, and it's very hard to prove that. But I guess the point is still the same. At the moment at which she tweeted, it's very hard to say, you didn't mean this, did you? And she says, no, I didn't mean it at all. In which case, why did you write it down and send it out for the world to see?
That's it. It's the action that comes after that. It's not what you meant or you didn't mean. It doesn't matter.
I guess it is going back to the sort of the driving analogy. The rush of blood that someone may have had that caused them to drive at 60 miles an hour in a 30, crash the car and kill people. Of course, they didn't intend to kill anybody, but they should have resisted the rush of blood to the head to speed at 60 and a 30.
Of course, and there should be punishment to deter other people not to do the same.
And
because
punishment to this degree.
The punishment, if you deter people, you're going to save other people. If there is lenient punishment, other people will do it. It's not just with this woman, it's any other crimes. Now it's very lenient.
But now you're coming back to and I'm grateful to you for it, you're coming back to the broader argument that Lord Young was making about other sentences too. And I get this on text. If the aim is deterrent through these big sentences for people to tweeting this stuff, as Mackie says here, what is the deterrent for keeping very severe images of child sexual abuse if there are people who have those images who aren't going to prison?
It's a harsh punishment, even for those people. Why would you keep pictures of children? Why?
Yeah, no, I agree.
You know what I mean?
But
Yeah, that's what.
So if we're saying that part of the reason why the sentencing is so long is because it acts as a deterrent for people to do really, say really awful things, where is the deterrent to people if that people aren't, as a matter of course, going to prison for having vile images of child sex abuse on their phone? Because they're not, and that I find that bizarre, terrifying actually.
It is. So there should be even harsher punishment. I don't know, longer sentences. They deserve it. 10, 20 years. That's deterrent. If you go for 1 year and go to do a course or something, that's not deterrent.
No. Joseph, thank you. Yusef's a first-time caller in Chigwell. Yusef.
Hi, how are you? I just wanted to say, what's the difference between a Muslim making these remarks compared to a white national that lives in the UK, compared to the Muslim that lives in the UK? I think if a Muslim said this, everyone would be calling him a terrorist. Because he's a white person, no one has used the word terrorist. And I feel like there should be equal punishment for both. There shouldn't be, different rules for one race and a different rule for another race or religion. So I think she should be done under the
hang on a second. We're mixing up a lot of different things here, which is going to make your overall point not particularly laser focused. Because Islam is not an ethnicity. It's not a race. It's a religion.
Sure. But say for instance, she's a Christian, right? And she doesn't really follow Christianity, and there's a Muslim that doesn't really follow Islam, but the Muslims that doesn't really follow Islam says the same thing. Everyone would be calling him a terrorist, even though he might not even follow Islam or follow any of the teachings of Islam, right, but just done it out of anger, right? So there would be a terrorist.
Not every asylum seeker is a Muslim.
It's not about that. It's about the action, right? So the lady said, burn down the hotel.
Yeah.
So say if a Muslim said, burn down that hotel, but he doesn't follow Islam, say if the Christian lady doesn't follow Christianity, but there would be an attachment of terrorists to the Muslim person that said it, right?
By whom? By people?
But by the public, yeah.
Well, possibly. Possibly. You're right. Possibly. I don't think that. I mean, there was a discussion at the time about whether to use terror legislation to punish people, and that I think rightly wasn't used in a lot of these cases because it doesn't go so far as to be terrorism. Yusef, thank you. Joel's the first-time caller in Hemel Hempstead. Joel.
Hello. How are you doing?
Good, sir.
Thank you. I just believe it's pretty crazy that we're even asking the question over whether she should be in prison or not, as I don't think she should be at all in prison.
Why?
Because it's just a tweet. It's just somebody's thought.
It's not just
in
a
the
tweet,
spur
though,
of the moment.
But it's not just the tweet.
Yeah,
That's
I think
like
it
saying,
is.
but again, to go back to the analogy that has been used a lot, it's like saying, well, I was just doing 60 and a 30 when the car crashed into the wall.
Yeah, but I mean, I think in many ways at the time,
I just robbed the shop. I just robbed it. It's just a shop robbing. It's just a straightforward shop robber. Come on, John.
Yeah, I get your point, but I'm just saying at the time that I heard about the incident, I was very angry. I mean, I'm a father. I've got kids.
We all
and
were.
I was thinking, wow, these young girls have been stabbed by some lunatic.
Yeah.
And I was annoyed. I was like,
of course.
I'd like to go out and protest. I never did protest, actually, but I felt annoyed. I felt angry, and I could well have done a tweet like that if I was on Twitter. I'm not particularly on Twitter.
You could have done a tweet that talks about mass deportation, setting fire to all the effing hotels full of the B words, for all I care. If that makes me a racist, so be it. You could see yourself doing that?
Maybe not exactly those words.
What would you like to have said? Let's go for it. What would you like to have said? But keep it, don't swear.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to think about it. I can't exactly say now on air exactly what I would have said without thinking about it. But I'm just saying I was very annoyed.
Sum up the anger that you felt, as everybody felt about that appalling atrocity. Sum up to what you would have said at the time.
I really don't know. But I mean, I'm just saying that I could well have said things that were racistly motivated. I could have said something like, we need to deport all these, illegal immigrants or whatever. I mean, I don't know what I would have said. But
Right, okay, well, Joel, hang on a sec. Joel. The reason you could have said that, I'm going to be very generous here, but the reason you could have said that is that you'd fallen for the misinformation that was doing the rounds at the time about who perpetrated this attack. It was not an illegal immigrant.
No, but was it a British person?
Yes, they were born in Britain.
Does that make them British?
Well, yes. I mean, on their passport, yes.
If I went with my wife to China, and I'm British, my wife's British, if I went to China and had a child, would that child be Chinese?
It depends on the laws in China about citizenship. If someone is born in a country,
say that child is not Chinese, that child is British, born in China. So. But I'd imagine that's what the vast majority of people would say.
But John, now you're engaging in a kind of ethno-nationalism here, which is I'm just saying. I just tweeted. I just crashed the car. What you're doing is you're saying you have to look a certain way to be British, and the reality of that is not true.
I'm just saying that's what most people would say. In my analogy, that's what most people would say. They'd say that's a British person born in China. So I'm just saying that I don't agree that there was misinformation. Obviously, I mean, there's so much misinformation online, isn't there, about all sorts of things. So.
Well, that's a good thing you didn't tweet, isn't it?